The following is an Action Sports presentation on Fox 30 WFOX TV.
For the 57th time,
drivers, start your engines!
A cast of characters unlike any other, ready to run the Great American Race. Junior trying to go back-to-back.
Daytona 500 is the biggest race of the year, so to win it, no matter what happened last year, is going to mean a lot.
The old veteran gearing up for his final ride.
I want to walk away from this sport on top. Danica
dukes it out with Denny. And both of the Busch brothers out of the 500.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, guys!
We are ready to lead the field to green, the Super Bowl of auto racing, right now.
Live, this is Action Sports Road to Victory Lane, presented by Amison's.
Finally, the day is here, the 57th running of the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. And yes, you are looking live at the International Speedway, the venue that has so much history, so much tradition, and yet so much change. Welcome to the Road to Victory Lane. Nothing like Daytona on a February Sunday. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Action Sports Special as we take you around the track, a couple hours away from the green flag, but there is much to do over the next 30 minutes before we hand it over to the boys from Fox. Let's introduce our cast of characters who will help drive this project for the next half hour. Brent Martineau is in Victory Lane. He'll talk with Jeff Gordon about his final ride. Stuart Weber trackside, focusing on what happens in the pits. We'll check with him in just a minute. And Mike Burge has the forecast. An uninterrupted 500 might be a minor miracle after the last few years. The headliner, though, from the weekend, the Busch brothers out of the 500. Kyle Busch, with a scary crash Saturday afternoon during the Alert Today Florida 300, crashes into the inside wall and was taken to the hospital via ambulance. It's a compound fracture in his leg, so Busch, starting fourth on the grid, is out. Matt Crafton will take his place in the driver's seat. Older brother Kurt, also out of the 500, suspended indefinitely by NASCAR. Now, this stems from a domestic dispute. A family court said Friday Busch smashed his ex-girlfriend's head against the wall back in September. A Saturday appeal denied by NASCAR. Kurt Busch is out. Reagan Smith will drive his car. Let's start our coverage from the Speedway with Brent Martineau. He's been following the 43-year-old boy wonder. Brent, Jeff Gordon surprising us all when he announced this is going to be his final year.
Yeah, how about that news? Big news to start the NASCAR season before they even hit the track or got to Daytona. And before we get to Jeff Gordon, what a scene down here. An absolute gorgeous day after Thursday and Friday was pretty chilly. And this place is packed. I've been coming down here for a handful of years. I don't think I ever fought the traffic like I fought just moments ago to get into Victory Lane for our show right now. But as for Jeff Gordon, depending on what generation of fan you are, Jeff Gordon might be the poster child of the sport for you. Of course, he's been around for a long time, won 4 Cup championships, and then there's the 92 wins. He's got some silly numbers if you add them up for the future Hall of Famer. He's won at Daytona 3 different times, but this is it for Jeff Gordon. This will be his final ride. He's left the door open for a little comeback here and there, but this will be his final 500 for sure. Jeff Gordon has earned it. There really isn't much left for him to do.
I think what the fans want more than anything is for us to be competitive this year, and I want to give my team a championship.
It would be another one. The milestones and accolades are enough to make you dizzy, and enough for one of the sport's best to at least take a step back.
I just knew that not only was that time coming for me, you go through a season and you start evaluating, how you feel about the process. I mean, if I could just get in the car and just drive the car, I could do this for many more years, but there's a lot more that goes into it than that.
And Jeff Gordon is about to write his name in history books.
We know what Gordon has meant to his sport, and we're also finding out what he means to fellow drivers.
Crazy thing for me is looking at Jeff's age at 43. I'm almost 40, so it's kind of like, wow, that's just a big aha moment for me. But when you look at the amount of years that he's been in the sport, he got such an early start, and he's 23, 24 years of competing. I'm at 14.
He's smart. He's been around forever. He's raced so many times and won so many races and has had the ups and downs and all that stuff. So he's just a guy that is great to talk to and also a friend. Well, Twitter was abuzz when Jeff Gordon made the announcement that he will step back
and not go full-time after this season in a race car. And everybody started tweeting out pictures of, I was here with Jeff, I was there with Jeff when Jeff did this and when Jeff did that. That's how big he is to this sport. And maybe folks today will ask, I was here in Daytona when Jeff Gordon won the final 500 of his racing career in his final start here at the Speedway. We'll see if that happens. Of course, he does have another race coming up in July, so not final start at the Speedway, but final start at the 500 for sure. At least that's what Gordon says. All right, trackside is Stuart Weber here from Action Sports. We've got a whole crew on hand. Somewhere at this giant speedway in the 2.5-mile oval is Stuart Weber, and he's got a story about technology hitting pit road. Stuart?
Yeah, you'd be hard pressed to find a sport that makes more changes year to year than NASCAR does, and a lot of it has to do with technology. Technology constantly changing, and this is one of the sports that really keeps up with it as the years go on. The perfect example would be this year. Pit road technology has changed. You remember the old officials would be standing in the pit boxes, just plain out getting in the way and causing a nuisance? Well, they're gone. They have been replaced by 45 high-definition cameras that are now tracking and monitoring every stop throughout the race. Crew members, they can tell how many guys are over the wall. They can also tell exactly how many pit stalls drivers are going in and out as they get to their stall, which is 3, by the way. So if you go through 4, well, then you're going to get a penalty. Lots of new changes and really lots of regulation going on within the teams as well. A little self-regulation because the camera can't see everything. So if you forget a lug nut, well, you have to report yourself. So some interesting new changes as we continue to keep up with it and see how NASCAR changes as the years go on. Dan, let's send it back to you.
All right, Stuart Weber, Brent Martineau down at the Speedway. We'll be headed back in just a few. But speaking of rule changes, what moves faster than the cars on a super speedway? The ever-changing wording of the rule book. This year's goal, creating more door-to-door racing and taking the control away from engineers and putting it back in the driver's hands, literally.
Horsepower reduction. Using spacers to choke air from the engine means less throttle response and slower speeds make the drivers have to set up passes throughout the race. Onboard track bar adjuster. To improve turning ability, teams can raise or lower the track bar. Before, the drivers had to wait until pit stops to adjust. Now they can do it from the cockpit. Shorter rear spoilers. Cutting the trunk wing decreases downforce, making race cars tougher to handle, challenging the drivers to be at their best.
All right, with all those rules and a new crew chief, Dale Jr. trying to do something that hasn't been done in 20 years, go back to back. Last driver to do it, Sterling Marlin, back in '94 and '95. We talked with Jr. earlier this year at the Tax Slayer Bowl about his place in the sport.
You know, we have great cars, great motors. From with Hendrick, you've got the best of the best resources, and you basically have so many rules that everybody can develop the same race car, and the speeds and versus your car and my car are going to be very, very close and throughout the entire field. So the little details, all the little tiny little things that really don't seem to matter, when you do 100 of those things, it adds up into something big. It adds, it really improves the speed of the car.
When you're down there, it's such a unique race. When do you know that, hey, this car's running really good. This is good. I got it. We got it perfect. Do you know that right away? Is it kind of a process through the week? How does it work?
You're gonna get in there and race and get in. That'll be a good race scenario and race situation where you can see what kind of speed your car has and how well it drafts and passes people and what its deficiencies are. You can also see what it doesn't do well and what you need to, you and your crew chief need to work on and see how you can fix some of those things. It's really challenging. Basically, when you unload for a plate race with all the rules and regulations, you got what you got, but you always got to try to fix what you see as a deficiency in the car, and we certainly try to find that out as soon as we can. We don't want no surprises when the race starts. You want to know exactly what you got and be prepared and work your strategy.
So popular in this sport. Hard to believe Junior turns 41 years old this year. Not so much a junior anymore. More racing ahead on our Action Sports special, The Road to Victory Lane.
Still to come. Friends turn foes with some fireworks at Daytona.
This one, I don't think we're of the same opinion, unfortunately.
And while one star steps back, who's the next young gun on the rise?
A number 3 on the pole.
Plus, Daytona continues to rise. The new look and what it means for the fans. Coming up on the road to victory lane.